Everybody staying cool? It's a little toasty today here in Michigan. So let me see who I have in my chat here. Mark Thomas, first one in my chat. Then Alabama Dirt Digger. Gary's Metal Detecting, welcome. Monk Cheetah and Tango Tango, welcome. Squirrels Magnet Fishing, welcome back. PA Relic Hunters. Gypsy, zero discrimination. Let's see, have I missed anybody? Cynthia Swearingen, thank you. Still scrolling. Otter Girl, welcome. So I am really excited for you to meet my guest tonight. I met Greg 2 years ago, 3 years ago, something like that, in Toronto, Canada, at the Radio World Woodbine Beach Hunt in Toronto, Canada. Reed's Art of Adventure, welcome. Just briefly met him, never really got a chance to talk to him, started following his channel on YouTube at that point. And you know me, I love rock hunting and metal detecting and any kind of treasure hunting. So I was definitely hooked on his channel. He's got some good information. You know me, the majority of the people that I have as guests are down-to-earth, good people. Okay? And he is the same in person in real life as he is on his channel. So, hi, David Lamb. Welcome. You're lurking. Okay. Arlene Church, welcome back. Amethyst, welcome. Mud Swat, welcome. JP Lawns and more, welcome. Let's see if I've missed anybody. I said hi to Reed's Art of Adventures. I think I'm caught up now. So I was thrilled to learn that I am going to be the first one to ever interview Greg, meMiner. And I feel very privileged for that, being able to do that. So without further ado, let's bring in our guest. Hi, Greg.
Good evening.
How are you? Are you nervous? This is your first interview.
Well, I'll, if I get too nervous, I'll have a glass of wine, a little swig.
Okay. All right. Let me get my list of questions. So, how did your love of rock hunting and prospecting begin, Greg? How old were you?
Oh boy. I was always interested, but I got passionate about gold prospecting.
Mm-hmm.
And that was after a ski trip to Leadville in Colorado. And I was down there for a long time. We got tired just skiing the hills. So we did a tour, end up in Leadville. And I realized that, hey, people are still finding gold. And so I thought, well,
wow,
I'd like to do that. And so I read some of the really basic books, and they said things such as gold is where you find it, and just check every creek you're on. And I'm always on creeks because I've always been a hunter, fisherman, camper, that sort of thing. I thought, hey, it's for me. Well, it's not quite like that. Even on the historic creeks in British Columbia, it's difficult to find gold. So, but I had an interest. That led me to buying a metal detector.
Oh wow!
And then I started. Then I ended up buying multiple metal detectors because I could spend more time metal detecting locally than I could, on trips out west.
Right.
Back then, I used to be an airline employee, so it cost me like $20 or $30 for a flight. So I'd fly out there all the time. I spent all my vacation on the creeks in BC.
Mm-hmm.
With some claims in the Caribou, which is a really nice area. I would go out with some friends. Sometimes I go alone, and usually once a year I'd take my wife or me. And so I spent quite a bit of time in the Caribou and some other areas in around lower British Columbia, Kamloops, um, up the highway towards Clearwater, Blue River, all through there. I'd hear about something like Blue River apparently had platinum. Oh, I wouldn't mind that. So
Yeah.
I go and spend a week and realize, well, it wasn't as easy as you could find it. In that area, my brother-in-law who lived in BC, he found about a 2-ounce nugget right in the same spots I was looking.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. And I've never found a 2-ounce nugget. I found lots of smaller ones, but you know, gram, 2 grams, that sort of thing. And then again, being an airline employee, I could fly down south to the Caribbean. My wife liked that a lot better.
Oh, I bet she did.
She also noticed that I got an awful lot more gold from the water. If you want to find jewelry, get into the water. And in the water down south, I found dozens and dozens of gold rings, necklaces, you know, all the stuff. Wow. I really enjoyed that, but what makes my hands tremble is a nugget versus even I've found, you know, platinum rings, diamond rings, lots of gold, but it was fun.
Right.
Yeah, there was something to do. And then I wondered about some of the rocks that I was finding or in and around the claims, and then started you know, poking at that a little bit, and found out there's actually some pretty interesting crystals and minerals that can be found where I live now, and also in the places I visit. And so this became the more I learned, the more interested I became. So that was kind of the start of it. And now I almost prefer finding rocks than I do gold. But I say that until I hit a gold creek, and then
and then it's out the window.
And then the other thing I've done from the very start, I had this friend up in Cobalt, Ontario, which is an old silver mining camp. And you know, lots of mines, lots of abandoned mines. I'd been there before. I met him, but he actually got hold of me through the internet and said, "Why don't you come up and we'll go detecting together?" And I kept pushing him off and pushing him off, and I finally said, "Sure, I'll come up." And away we went. And you know, it's fun. For one thing, I can find a lot. A number of years ago, it was nothing to come home with 500 pounds of silver in my truck.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow.
and that's just the stuff I kept, not the low grade, you know, all high grade stuff. Now metal detectors are getting better. There's more people doing it. My videos don't help. And it's getting more difficult to find good silver. Right. It's there, but you gotta work for it.
Right.
Yeah. So if anybody wants to try it, think about doing it next few years. Or sometimes you're lucky that they've had machines in that move some gravel, and so there's fresh rock. But I got to tell you, there's enough locals up there that almost make a living metal detecting, and they're likely the first ones on those spots.
Wow.
Yeah, and they'll detect all night. You know, they'll wait till the crews leave, and they'll metal detect all night because it has value.
Right. Hi, Chrissy. Outdoorsy Gallows in our house.
Chrissy.
Chrissy.
Hey, Chrissy.
Chrissy and Johnny. Thank you very much for the super chat, New Hampshire Beach Metal Detecting. So, are you an accredited geologist?
No. I took some geology. I was going to take it as a minor when I was at university. I actually went to University McMaster, which is Hamilton. I transferred to U of T. Then wondered what my minors were going to be, but at that time it was in commerce. So Bachelor of Commerce is what I was pursuing. Never completed. Never completed it. I ended up being more interested in computers and programming and analysts, that sort of thing. And so that's why I got my job. And then and once I was working, I always thought I would complete my education. And about the same time, I was really interested in the formation of rocks. What how to find the gold, why it's there, how to find other interesting minerals. So I did take geology courses. Never completed anything. And then also I took locally. There was some courses you could take through the Ministry of Natural Resources on how to be a prospector, and so I took those courses. Everything else has just been self-learned.
Okay.
And really in this field, there's nothing like boots on the ground.
Right.
You learn by doing.
You learn by doing. Exactly.
Yeah.
So when you were a kid, did your parents take you rock hunting, or how did you get?
No.
Or that just evolved with
my dad would point out certain things. We had rocks in the yard that had fossils in them, little and he'd show me how to chip them out, that sort of thing. But no, my parents had 5 kids. They're kind of busy.
Yeah. I hear you.
Yeah, but they did teach me the love of the outdoors, and how I can be alone and still be okay.
Right.
Which is kind of key for what I do.
Yeah. Well, I do mostly hunting by myself too.
Yeah.
But as a kid growing up, I was the girl that loved playing in the dirt. That was odd for a girl to like that. So.
Yeah, I remember I went to a school reunion, and I bumped into somebody that I grew up with, and she said, "You know something? You were always dirty," in the sense that not dirty like unbathed, but but dirty. If there was mud in the football field, I was there.
Right.
At 16, I had a motorcycle, and I'd go and rip around the dirt at lunch, and I always was a bit dirty.
Yeah. I wasn't afraid to get dirty either.
Yeah.
What inspired you to create your YouTube channel?
You know what happened is my dog Daisy. I was teaching her how to find gold. And she was really good with sulfides, and like when it wasn't in a controlled environment, my backyard or inside the house, she was on it like that. And but then also taught her about bunnies and birds and things like that.
Right.
In the field, she's she's more interested in the things that run away.
Right.
But my absolute first YouTube was Daisy on her first test outside trying to find sulfide rocks, and darn if she didn't find it. Like, it was an easy video to make. And so I said, hey, we should upload that, because who else is using a dog to find gold?
Right.
And so I had my daughter, who back then couldn't have been any more than, I don't know, 7, something like that. And I said, let's create this channel. And so we did together. And the weird thing was, when we tried to punch in names, because we thought, okay, we'll call it this, we'll call it that, none of the names we wanted were available. And so she finally typed in Tess, which is the name of, at the time, my older dog, and 99991. And that was my channel name. And that was the name for about 3 or 4 years, because I wasn't posting that much. It was hey, if someone might be interested in this. And so after that, probably the videos were my buddy up in Cobalt, who he said, well, take a video, post it. And I said, well, aren't the guys that potentially even own these mines, aren't they going to care? He said, they're not going to care. And so I started posting a few, and I started getting people watching. And then I thought, well, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
then I watched Casey Neistat. I don't know if you know him, out in New York, and he had a really interesting video. And he said, anybody that wants a channel, what you should do is one piece of advice is keep posting. I thought, okay, I'll do that.
Yep.
And that's
Post
what I
on
did.
a regular basis.
Well, I'm not so regular.
Well, you kind of had some good excuses lately.
Well, yeah. Lately, I probably people will forgive me. Other times, it's I've tried to think of what I could do in the winter because things freeze up here pretty good.
Yeah.
So there's not much I can do from November through late March. Sometimes I can get out towards Niagara Falls because it's a warmer climate and do something, but otherwise, or head south. Other years it was, well, other than, was it last year, the year before? Anyway, when COVID hit, we actually canceled a major trip we had planned to Aruba, and that would have been a lot of video.
Wow.
But
yeah,
the border closed.
Oh, geez.
And I'm afraid to actually look at it because I had to cancel all of our airlines. And I think they only gave us 1 year. I spent about $8,000 in airline fees.
Oh my gosh.
And I think I may have just walked away from it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, wow. Unless they extended it. I guess I got to give them a call and find out where I stand.
Yeah, you need to find out where you stand on that.
Yeah. But we had a great trip planned. I've been there once before and did find some gold, some jewelry in the water, but also in the hills, as you go to the Atlantic side, there actually is an old gold mine. There's a rumor of different treasures. It'd be a really interesting place to spend some more time. Yeah. And actually some of the rocks, actually last time I was there, I met a fellow who wanted to take me to some places he said had crystals. And
oh, wow.
There would have been a video or 2 or 3.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I would like to do. I haven't done that yet, is crystal hunting.
Crystals are amazing. Well, I got one right here. You take a look. I don't know if you can see over here. You see this? Yeah. So the white is calcite.
Calcite.
Right in there is an apatite crystal formed right in the calcite.
Wow.
And I just find, there we go. I just find that amazing. That is really cool.
It is. It is.
So I do love the look of crystals. Normally what I try to find is what's difficult to find, which doesn't necessarily make a good video unless I wanted one like, what's that island off Nova Scotia where they keep trying to look for the pirate treasure?
Yeah.
I'll make 10 seasons out of it. Yeah, actually, the other one I want to look for is up by Cobalt. There is the myth of a Sasquatch, or as Bo would say, a Sam Squinch. Bubbles, same thing. And they call him Yellow Jacket.
Right.
And there's been multiple sightings of him. And we thought, hey, it'd be a good video to go search for Yellow Jacket.
Yeah. I have a cabin in the UP, and I believe there is such a thing. Only because there's no bear footprints that could be as big as the ones my husband and I found when he was alive. I mean, they were just huge. I mean, you're talking like 14 inches long.
Yeah, well, I know what that would.
I've never seen a bear. I had an 800-pound bear that visited our cabin frequently.
That's black bear, right?
Black bear.
Yeah.
He would have been a record bear. We think he got poached. He disappeared just off the face of the earth. I had his paw prints, and they were 10.5 inches long.
I'll give you a story. I went to, I was with my wife, and which she didn't like to stay in a tent. So we had friends in Edmonton. So we flew Toronto, Edmonton, drove from Drayton Valley where these friends lived across into the Caribou. So through Prince George down to Quesnel and in to where the claims were. It's a long drive. And every one was fraught with, I could tell 100 stories with what we'd seen, what we'd done. But on this one, we got into my claim, and on the road in call it a road, but like ATV track. Yeah, we were driving the truck in. The truck has a camper in the back, and a bunch of trees had come down. And so I said, let's go to the other claim that I had, because this I can't deal with. But she really wanted to go there. So I spent until dark with a handsaw cutting out these huge cedars, massive cedars, and pushing them out of the way until they actually drive under what was there. And so we get down to, the reason she liked it was a confluence of two creeks, Antler Creek and something else that came into it. And it's a beautiful spot. We set out some chairs. We decided to have a drink. And about half an hour later, she looks at me and says, I smell a horse. Probably the closest horse is 100 kilometers away.
Right.
And because she was there, I had a rifle. So I grabbed the rifle. I grabbed the flashlight. I'm looking. And she went, oh. And she ran into the camper. I never saw anything.
Right.
Anyway, the evening was kind of ruined. So
wow.
The next day, I go and look at the creek. And the mud bank on the edge of the creek. Now the main river there, the Antler, would get salmon in it. There would be, at that time of year, any pool you look in would have a dozen salmon. And that's what the bears are down there for. And the Caribou has grizzlies. These things are like a small car.
Oh, yeah.
yeah. Actually, another tangent. I met some prospectors up there, and they always described the bears as how big its poops were. And the biggest one they ever knew about, when they drove the truck over it, took the top off. I don't know.
Oh my goodness.
That's a good story.
Yeah, that's a grizzly for you, or a brown bear. They're like massive.
Yeah, I don't think it's
more aggressive. They're more aggressive than black bear.
Between a brown and a grizzly, but some of these bears are massive.
Yeah.
Anyway, I went, looked at the bank of the creek, and I could see where this thing had crossed the creek and walked into the mud. Now, a mud makes a bigger footprint, but it's like someone had taken a catcher's mitt and pushed it into the mud, and his claw marks were longer than my fingers. And that walk, and that bear probably walked 20 meters beyond me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
but they were fishing. They weren't interested in us.
Right.
They were fishing. Another time I was out there, I was staking a claim. Back then, you actually had to physically stake the claim. So you put a post at one end. There we go. You put a post. You put a normally you cut off a tree, and you square it off, and you tie a tag onto it, and you walk a kilometer. I'm having trouble looking at the video.
Yeah.
You walk a kilometer, and then you make another post, and you put your tag on it facing each other.
Right.
Facing
Correct.
each other.
Yeah.
And you can actually put two tags on there. Then what you do is you claim how many meters to the right or left. What I always did was, because I could claim one side and have to do all the work, I claimed 500 meters to the right, and I put another tag on 500 meters to the left. So basically what I ended up with a square kilometer.
Right.
In between those two places, you had to flag it. And the flagging was, every time you hit a tree, you cut off a bit of bark. So if someone's walking towards that, they can see the marks on all these trees as you move along. Anyway, I did this up the side of a mountain. I had a rifle with me, but it was too big a pain in the butt to take. So all I had with me is a half axe for doing the trees.
Yeah.
I get up towards the top of the hill or top of the mountain, and something changed in the environment. Birds stopped singing, something, and the hair went up the back of my neck, and I went, oh. And I turned around, and this grizzly was walking to every tree that I had marked,
Smelling it.
well, stood up and then scratched higher than my mark.
Oh, he thought
Doing-
you were the
saying, I
competition.
don't know who you are, but you're smaller than me.
That is
And
funny.
I backed into a rock outface, and I'm staring at my little half axe, thinking, "Oh, this isn't good. This is the time I should have had my rifle, right?" But
Oh
then
my
again, but actually, an aside, a
Mhm.
rifle is just an equalizer. You could probably kill it, but not anytime you need to kill it, because you're never going to stop a bear unless it's a charging bear.
Yeah.
So I actually eventually stopped taking any guns with me, unless I was with my wife, who was
Mhm.
deadly terrified of bears, and,
Mhm.
it just made her happier that this thing was there. But otherwise, what are you going to do? Anyway, so it got to within 25, 30 yards,
Wow.
and then it actually sat down and went, and I could see spit and drool and everything flying everywhere. And it's like it cleared its nostrils because I smelled bad,
Mhm.
and then it walked away.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Well,
I didn't.
sometimes just with black bears, the only aggression I've ever seen in black bears, because I used to be a volunteer for the Michigan Moose Survey for like
Right.
9 years. And the only aggression I've ever seen from black bears are if you by accident come on a mother and cubs. But
Yeah.
most of the time, the mother will try to draw you away from the cubs.
Right.
But I have had one instance where she got ticked off. This 2-track went right through this cliff of dirt. So I had dirt up to as tall as the car on both sides. I had the windows down. All of a sudden, I look over to the right, and there's baby bear cubs looking inside my car. And I'm going, oh, this can't be good. Roll up my windows, get through the dirt, and here's Mama on the other side and takes a swipe at my car, removing some paint and making some dents.
Serious.
Yeah. So mothers
Wow.
are very protective.
I guess so. Mama bears. Like I've seen a lot of bears, black bears in Ontario.
Mm-hmm.
They always run away.
Yeah, they usually run away.
Only once I was doing a portage with my wife, of course, and going through this portage, I realized that a bear was downwind and tracking me. He was maybe 100 meters away, and I only knew it because I threw the canoe off and my pack off because it was a long portage, and then it snapped a twig or something, and so I got curious. So he tracked me, but he never came in. But that's what black bears do: is they will stay downwind of you.
Oh, they will. They
And
know
then
where you're at, but it's hard
try
for
to
you to
creep
see
in.
them.
They may try to creep in, see what they can do, and if they attack you, they try to attack you from behind, which is why a lot of people, when they get attacked, get scalped because they get bit in the back of the head, and then when you fight, when you try to get away, his jaws close and take your hair off.
Right.
And the only time I came close to that was actually in BC. That was in Avola, and I was staying in a place with my wife. And,
oh my! No wonder she's afraid of bears.
yeah, we had a few experiences. Actually, I even got a better story. I got a better story for you, but I'll tell you about Avola. There was a creek. It was in a cabin, and there's a creek that ran behind it. It had the best tasting water, especially for just drinking cold or making tea with. But I wondered if there's gold, so I'm out there panning, and again the hair goes up the back of my neck, and I went, "What?" And I looked over, maybe 50 yards away was a bear coming towards me, and so so I went into the cabin because there was a gun in there, grabbed it, came out, and my wife said, "You do not kill that bear." So
oh wow!
I did not. I tell you, actually, I'll complete the whole story. I've never killed a bear in my life, but so I shot over its head, and it ran a short distance away and sat down and stared at me. The whole time we were there, that bear kept coming back. And actually, the place is owned by my sister, and she said, kill the bear. There's a hermit that lives up the mountain. He'll take the meat. Just gut it out and then give her a call, and she'll get hold of him and take care of it. The only day I never saw that bear was the last day.
Right.
And that was the day I was going to shoot it. I didn't want to ruin my trip by killing a bear and having my wife take off at me.
And if you've never
I got a better
or gutted a bear, it's a bad experience because afterwards you feel like you're.
No, I said I've never killed a bear. I've gutted a few bears. I've gutted a few bears. My dad was a hunter, and when they were deer hunting, if they're dog for deer, so guys would drive and then have guys and watch and see what goes through the line. If a bear goes through, they always told to shoot it because the bear is a competition for the deer and etc.
Right.
So my dad would come home. My dad would come home usually with a quarter, and he'd tell me to go take care of it. So I took care of it. I know how to cut it. I know how to clean it. I've gutted a few bears. It's a shot, but I've never. I don't want to kill a bear unless I had to.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
I've never shot a bear on my property. My property is a sanctuary. So my problem that I have is with hunters trespassing. And I have metal signs posted. We have a caretaker. The family has a caretaker up there that keeps an eye on the place. I have metal signs posted all the way around the acreage. Saying it's a $5,000 land use fine per person per day, and it's legal.
Yeah.
And DNR helped me prosecute the first person that ever killed a bear on my property that was trespassing. He killed a cinnamon bear. He killed my Cinnamini, which I named all my bears, but they're wild animals. I just photographed them,
Yeah. Well, I haven't got them here in my backyard, but usually only in the spring. But my neighbors don't take down their bird feeders.
Oh, geez. And they have a problem with it.
And they pull down the bird feeder and eat the seed. Because they're hungry when they first wake up, right?
Right.
But that's it. But actually, no, my best story on bear was place I used to moose hunt was 14 hours away, 14-hour drive outside a town called Hornpain. I told my wife, you should come up there. We'll do some fishing and exploring and just have some fun. So away we go. We left on a Friday night. So I'm driving, and it's a 14-hour drive. So I drove all day. And
that's
I get
equivalent to me driving down to North Carolina.
There you go. Well, I guess, or Europe, driving right across Europe.
Yeah.
And I'm still in the same province. I'm not even in Thunder Bay yet. Wow. Anyway, I get to Hornpain. I have to go 2 portages, so it's a boat ride, a couple portages. We get into my buddy's hunt camp, and I said, I need a power nap. Wake me up in an hour, but let me go to sleep. So I did, and within about 10 minutes, she goes, Greg, wake up. There's a bear. Oh, geez. Anyway, so I look out the window, and in the back is an outhouse, and as a door, there's just a shower curtain. Well, there was. The bear's got the shower curtain. He's running around with this thing, and I thought,
oh, my.
I'm in a bad mood. So I grab the rifle, and I go out, and she's yelling instructions at me, blah, 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 and I get to the corner of the cabin, and I'm leaning on it, and this thing is only like 10 meters away, it's murder distance. I'm literally squeezing the trigger. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Because she's making so much noise, it stands up and tries to wind her. And so it's standing up. It's like perfect shot. Like, yeah, you're mine. And I'm squeezing the trigger. But it was an old rifle. I think it was an old 30-30 or 303 or something like that. I'm squeezing the trigger, just waiting for it to fire. And then I hear from the cabin, oh, that's so cute. I let
Oh
off.
my God! There you go. You can't do that now.
Yeah, so I let off, and ha, bear. We usually run away with that. And
Okay.
we didn't see it again, but I left my canoe up there, and it ate out the bottom of my canoe.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Not good. They can be little stinkers getting in this stuff, that's for sure.
Mhm.
But the bears aren't bad. It's the people having bad habits, leaving stuff out for them to get into. They're like,
Well, what happened in this area is the meMiner, our natural resources guys. If there was a trouble bear, they would trap it, and this is one of the areas that actually move it to.
yeah. See, that's what my property
There's
is.
a bear that learned bad habits, got moved there. Oh, your property's the same way? Okay.
My property is, I don't allow any hunting on my property. When they have problem bears at the Tequamanon Falls State Park, they drop them off at my property.
Okay.
Which is 60 miles away, 50 miles away, something like that.
Right.
So I don't have a problem with it because I'm there just to photograph them and that, which I haven't been up there in like 6 years. It's time to go back up.
Yeah. Well, in this area, they don't care if they drop it off and somebody else shoots it, just they don't want to shoot it, which is a shame.
No, they don't shoot it, but they'll drop it off in an area. My acreage is got a 9-acre tank pond on it.
Right.
Or tank lake where it fills with snow melt, and then by August the water's gone. And it's nothing but blueberries everywhere. So I mean, there's food sources for them there.
Yeah.
I don't, because I used to be volunteer DNR for 9 years working on the moose survey. I guess that's why they felt safe dropping them off at my place. I've only had hunters come on my land once that I know of and kill a bear, and they were prosecuted.
Huh.
So, and Cinny Minnie's cub had a cub, and that was at a time where Michigan really didn't use rehabilitation experts that much back then. And I took the summer off of work. I was fortunate. I was a florist, and I hired somebody to run my shop for 6 months and took care of that bear without it knowing it was being taken care of. Because I didn't want to see it die. It was a cub. It wasn't even a year old yet. So.
Well, they like donuts.
Oh, they love donuts, chocolate donuts. They love any kind of people food.
Sure they do.
So, well, they're omnivores, so that makes sense. Let's see. So you've already told me you take your detector on vacation.
Oh, yeah.
So I have somebody, Gypsy, if you're still in there, you want to come on here for a minute? That has a question for you about prospecting with a metal detector.
Cool.
And that could, because you have hunted for silver, raw silver ore. Isn't that what you would call it?
Well, silver ore up in Northern Ontario. I've also gone for gold. There's not much else to use it for, except I actually was supposed to go for copper on the Michigan Peninsula, and it didn't work out. I forget reason why, but I couldn't do the trip. So, and then I was going to do it last year again, and of course we know the excuse there.
Yeah, we know what happened there. So,
but for your friend, I do have a piece of copper.
Okay, cool.
And I got my metal detector.
Waiting for Gypsy to get up here.
Yeah, for Gypsy, and for everybody else. Let me just turn this detector on. That's the problem using multiple detectors. You forget how each one works.
Yeah.
How do I turn it on?
Yeah. Here she comes.
Okay, wait. Let me just. No doubt. Like anybody would dig that.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
And
Hey,
21.
girl.
Hi,
Gypsy, you got your volume on?
can you hear me okay?
Yep, I can hear
Yeah.
you.
Oh,
Okay, you want to ask Greg your question?
Hi, Greg. I'm Gypsy. I have a YouTube channel as well. I've been metal detecting 23 years now, and I've been watching. I've actually been a subscriber to your channel for probably 4.5 years. So
well,
for a while. So last night, so I do a podcast on Monday nights, all metal mode podcast with my friend Digger DeGauze, Amanda. She's up in Maine. And I was discussing on there that I just got hired to go basically look for raw copper floaters, uh, that type of thing up in Michigan. I live in Texas, so you probably recognize my bad Texas accent, so I apologize. But anyway, I like to, when I was young, my dad used to take me, he was really into rock hounding and looking for rocks and minerals and stuff like that. So I grew up, learning all these names of these different rocks and crystals. My daddy would even grow crystals. He's a mad scientist. But
yep.
That stems kind of from my childhood and also fossil hunting. But mainly now what I do for a living is metal detecting. And I am sponsored with Garrett Metal Detectors. So I was recently, you mentioned earlier, I haven't been to Oak Island, but I was recently on one of the episodes of Beyond Oak Island. So Beyond Oak Island is where they go, different places across the U.S. and kind of focus on different treasures that other treasure hunters are seeking. And so Marty, Lagina, are involved in the show. And anyway, I won't give any more detail or bore you with that, but it's a lot of fun working with them and getting to metal detect. And that's use my experience of metal detecting and finding a few relics on the show that we just finished filming for a couple of episodes. And anyway, long story short, I'm going to be traveling soon to Michigan, up probably a lot further north than Deej.
Than I'm at.
And I'm going to be looking for, the raw copper. But of course, the Native Americans, from what I understand, they were some of the miners there a
The
long time.
first to mine before the
For
Europeans.
sure.
And so I did see some petroglyphs and some paintings that are really interesting that will be on the property that I'll be detecting. And I'm really excited about it. But for me, this is the first time of kind of copper prospecting. I've done gold. And I was actually on one of the Gold Rush shows, Freddie Dodge's Gold Rush show. And so I've found, gold nuggets before, and I've done all that. So I know a little bit about that. But so I'm kind of learning off the fly, so to speak.
Yeah.
Kind of trying to learn a little bit more about the prospecting for copper, raw copper, and the area that I'll be detecting on. I'm going to be bringing a range of different metal detectors. I actually have a 2-box metal detector for finding, the larger deposits, hopefully. Also along with other metal detectors that I'll be bringing with me, 1,000+ acres. So it's going to take to cover it.
I told Gypsy if she needs help, call me. I love
for
your
sure.
help.
You probably needs like 30 people. 1,000 acres? Wow.
Yeah, you're gonna need help. You're definitely gonna need
Well,
help.
so here's my experience. The 2-box detectors.
Is that hard?
will find in an area that's been populated at all, which in the mining area they have been, they will find the deepest junk you'll ever find.
Right. Yeah, I have that experience as well.
Yeah. You're probably best off starting out with a VLF detector. Garrett makes some great ones. I've had Bo Aquatrigger up to cobalt a couple of times,
Right.
and that's what he uses. And I've actually borrowed his when I didn't have batteries, and did really well. You know, he did as well as anybody with those detectors. So
I know he uses a lot, the Garrett AT Max. I have a Garrett AT Max. I'm thinking about bringing the super large coil that they just sent me. Garrett, no, you think smaller coil? Okay.
Yeah. So the problem with the big coil, okay, I can't do a big coil. The problem with the big coil is you're almost covering too much ground. And so if there's any junk there, it'll pick up the junk.
Right.
As well as if there's any big rocks, you can't get around them.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a bad idea if you get into a spot, 15 feet by 15 feet, that you've taken out something that's good, you want to know what's deeper, hit that spot because you're going to clean it out anyway.
Right.
You've got in that micro location, which is amazing, but starting with a big coil is a huge mistake.
To start with,
I've actually seen guys up where I go. I've seen guys, actually one time my dog started barking because somebody from Michigan, we drove through Michigan, he was from south of there. But anyway, I was at a mine, I was with my friend and my dog. My dog started barking because this guy is running this metal detector through with a massive coil, and he made this PVC wheelbarrow kind of thing to push it. But my dog didn't like him because he was wearing a bug vest. So he's all covered in this bug stuff and probably sounded like a squealing rabbit. So she was not happy. So she's barking at the guy. Anyway, we went out and talked to him, and I've stayed in touch with him since. He's actually a really nice guy. But that whole setup completely failed. I think at the end of the week, he just bought some silver from my buddy and went home. Whereas most people I know that go into these mining areas, if it's a decent mining area, will find something decent with a metal detector.
right.
There is a learning curve to it, for sure. What you have to expect is anywhere you're going, unless it's absolutely private or really, 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 really remote, like fly-in remote, is someone else has detected it.
Right.
And that being the case, unless the gravel or rocks have been turned over,
mm-hmm.
you're either finding really small pieces or really deep pieces. And the secret to the deep is your VLF is an all metal.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Look at the screen. If it's bouncing all over the place, don't burn yourself up digging that unless that was the only target of the day.
Right.
That one alone, but if it's a consistent, somewhat sounding target and your screen can't pick up a number, that's where you start to dig. Move some rocks or dirt out of the way and see if your signal improves. Because that will be maybe something decent, but that's just deeper beyond the range of your average metal detectorist. Your average guy going through these areas, especially if there's no confidence, is swinging really fast, and they'll get the surface stuff, but they'll miss everything below.
Right.
Yeah. Otherwise, get into places that are tough to get into. If there's a nice spot that it's obvious, maybe someone else has mined it, there's tailings or waste rock or something there. Yeah, sure, detect that. You're not doing well, step into the forest. If nothing else, when they blasted, they were taking bits of ore and sending it 100 meters. And anywhere the 100 meters, there'll be good rock. As well as the area you're going to, the glaciers moved through. At one point, there's a mile of ice.
Right.
And they picked up everything and they moved it. But they only moved the real heavy stuff a short distance.
Mm-hmm.
So in cobalt, the silver, there was an 800 and something ounce nugget that was found. It was only about 5 kilometers from the source.
Wow.
Yeah. So, you know, it can pick it up. You know, there's stuff in Michigan or Ohio, like the gold in Ohio was picked up in Ontario,
Right.
and taken all that way. But you have to think the gold is better between here and there. That's just as far as they took it.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully that answered some of your. Actually, ask your question. I'll pour a glass of wine and.
Cheers.
Do you have any other questions?
So, maybe, I was just curious, you know, I'm going to bring 3 different detectors, and, you know, like you kind of answered one of the questions there. I prefer swinging a small coil anyway.
Yeah, not too small.
Weight, but
Like,
yeah,
you know, 5 by 11, perfect.
perfect. And I do swing the Garrett, the new multi-frequency Apex a lot now because, but I, you know, have a lot of experience with, you know, VLF machines as well as PI machines. So I have a range of detectors and experience with them. So it's no problem. It's just that I'll be traveling there quite often, and it is quite light to travel with. So I was thinking 2 to 3 detectors each time I go, and then go, you know, kind of learning as I go and seeing if I thing first and go from there.
Any of those detectors that work. I like using a PI if the ground is highly mineralized. So mineralized so much that the VLF won't work. But I've been in some mines where a friend has only had a VLF and I had my PI.
Mm-hmm.
If it was really, really hot, even the PI didn't work.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. In cobalt, one of the places. Sorry?
So a lot of hot rocks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There's a mine in Cobalt called Cross Lake, and that is really hot. And you almost have to just put up with the sound of your detector and listen for it saying something different, digging. And
gotcha.
There's some great silvers come out of there, but also some gold. It's one of the few places in Cobalt with gold. Out west, when I was using, I take 2 detectors. One was a MineLab Knox 800, which you can use in the water. You can it's one of those multi-frequencies again, but because of the mineralization, I would tend to the my MineLab GPX 5000, which is a PI unit,
right?
And it would do better. At the end of the day, get your coil over it. It doesn't matter what you have, but if you're saying you're taking 3 detectors, I'd say cool, but minimum 2 detectors because you always need one in case something goes wrong.
Always 100%. So I actually sell metal detectors now as well. So and I've used all brands, so I have a little bit of experience there. So I've had people, you know, learn, you know, the hard way is, you know, when I used to own a metal detecting store in South Texas, I had a guy, he had visited the beach and he brought 3 machines, 3 MineLabs. All of them failed on him. He had some problem with them.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Yeah, ended up, you know, you'd think with 3 machines that one of those would have, you know, but he ended up renting a machine from me. But
wow.
I'm always trying to be prepared. But luckily, you know, relationship with Garrett, you know, if I did get into a jam, I'd say, hey, can you overnight me a machine? If I
Actually, I've heard really good things about Garrett. So yeah, and actually that was my experience as well. all I had from them was a pinpointer. I've got multiple now, those orange carrots. I love those pinpointers. But I was actually at a mine. And I went to pinpoint, and I saw the little cap where you press the button fall off and went down between the rocks. And I started throwing rocks. I got down about 3 feet, and I went, it's a grommet. I can't go any further. So I just sent them an email. And they sent me 5.
Wow.
They just put them in an envelope and said, we'll take care of it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, gotta love them.
Awesome.
Wow.
There are other metal detector places that would say, sucks to be you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, Greg, you swing a fisher, correct?
I have lots of detectors.
Okay.
So
when you
I got a
swing over your copper
as
rock,
far as fishers go, I've my water unit for diving. I got a CZ20, a CZ21. I did acquire a Gold Bug. I think it's called a Gold Bug Pro or SE, but it was one of the earlier ones, and it had to go back to the shop for the silver fix. Mm-hmm. I have that, and it's actually got a coil that I bought out of Ukraine. Forget the name of those guys. It was a pretty good machine. And then I've got FZ 75 SE. And the reason I got that is I was showing up north to Cobalt with my GPX, my Mine Lab, GPX 5000, which is $6,000 machine, plus probably I've got like $2,000 worth of coil.
Mm-hmm.
And my buddy with the FZs, with the F75 kicked my butt.
Wow.
Than not. Yeah.
Yeah, Fisher.
Yeah.
Fisher products.
Yeah. Although the one thing we did learn is at one point I detected for a few days, but he was working, so he finally showed up and at this mine, and he had gone to sell some of his silver, and he had some rocks that the buyer didn't want. Mm-hmm. Because they're just cobalt,
right?
And nobody wants cobalt. Well, some people do. If you take cobalt and stack it where people can find it, it disappears in days because it's kind of cool looking. It's got a kind of a pink outside. Anyway, enough worried about that. He had these rocks in the back of his truck, and he said the guy didn't want them, and he started tossing them out of his truck just where we were parked. And I said, well, let me check them with my detector. And he said, I've already checked them with mine, and they come up as cobalt, which is normally like a 13 on the F75. I go over all of them. I go, and with the PI, the GPX 5000, I've got a little bit of discrimination set so I don't get all the iron, right. And I get enough depth anyway with it. So I go over these rocks, and I'm getting no signal. And this one, it just rockets. It's kind of like this one, like the piece of copper. It's like, no doubt, there's something in there. Anyway, it was about a 10-pound rock, something like that. And I said, this one you should take home and see what's inside. Yeah, it was almost solid silver.
Oh, wow.
Cobalt. So the amount of cobalt in there was decreasing the signal, and it was just confusing his detector, but it didn't confuse the PI detector.
Wow.
Yeah, just and so it went from a rock that he's going to toss out of the back of his truck to one that was worth, I don't know what he got for it, $500, something like that. Yeah, and up there, $500 buys a lot of beer.
Yeah. That's some good beer money for sure.
Well, yeah. He can get a few Budweisers into that. Yeah.
Right.
So maybe I should bring the PI as well.
I would, if I was to bring 2 detectors, it'd probably be the AT Max you said you have.
Yeah, I have the Apex, and I have the Apex, and I have the GTI 2500 2 box. I have just about every machine there is. I also new, which it hasn't come out yet, putting it on soon because, they bought out whites.
Oh, yeah.
The new, let's see, 24K Gold Master.
Yeah, I don't know that one. I've had multiple white detectors in the past, but that one I don't know.
That one they just sent me, so I've been playing with it, so I know a little bit about the machine. And I was hunting in Utah with a friend when we were filming for one of the Beyond Oak Islands, and him and I went to the river and did some playing in the river, and I let him test it out, and he found a hot rock, and sure enough, I saved the rock.
Ooh. Oh.
With that machine. So I'm gonna test that out, see what might be in that rock.
Yeah, there are, even my PI would pick up, like the GPX would pick up hot rocks.
Right.
Especially if they're really hot.
Mm-hmm.
I actually had one of my trips, this mine had moved a bunch of gravel, and we were in there. You probably can't believe this, but I'm shooting the breeze with somebody for too long. Anyway, it started to get dark, and we went, and so I had this friend who didn't have a detector at the time, so he took my Fisher, I took my GPX 5000, and we go detecting, and we're finding silver every 2 feet, every 3 feet. We're getting a rock of 5-10 pounds. It was fantastic. Anyway, and I end up at the farthest place in this mine, downhill, half a kilometer away. Anyway, it was far away, and I get this signal and I get this rock. Now, the only thing I had with me is my cell phone, so I put the flashlight on and I try to wipe off the clay and stuff that's there, and it's sparkling back at me, and I go, oh man, this is a good rock. So what I finally did is I strapped it into the frame of a backpack. So I collapsed the black backpack that had a frame and put this on there, and somehow or another stood up, and then walked this thing back to my truck because I'm so happy. I've got this 300-400 pound rock that is gonna kick butt. Anyway, next day I took it to car wash, just cleaned off. It was a hot rock.
No!
Yeah, the sparkly was
my goodness!
The pyrites and stuff, the calipyrite and whatever else is in there.
Wow.
You got those, but, you can't. You really shouldn't be detecting at night.
Yeah.
So great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
Where do you
Go
live,
ahead.
Greg?
I'm in Ontario, so Port Perry, which is northeast of Toronto.
Okay.
If I go to Cobalt, that's about a 6-7 hour drive.
Okay.
If I go straight, and then Michigan would be, well, the peninsula would be like a 14-15 hour drive, something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So y'all are close to where I'll be. So, if I need help, I need some holler at y'all. So
That'd be cool. That'd be cool. I know some other people in the area too that might be able to help you out if you need help. On camera, off camera. Actually, the amazing thing is, a lot of the people I deal with don't want to be on camera.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Camera shy. Yeah.
Right.
So they're willing to go and point to the right directions, but actually probably the most important thing is to get a sample of what it is you want to detect and see how it reacts.
Yes.
To your machine.
In the air under your machine.
Yeah,
Right.
and I bet they'll have that because it is a rock company. The guy working for is a geologist, so he knows the details, but I can't publicly say it. But
Right.
But anyway, I feel like
Is there any underground there? you can go into?
I'm not sure yet. I don't know.
Okay.
She hasn't
So-
been there yet.
I haven't
So.
been there yet. Found out about this job yesterday, and they asked to hire me. So it'll be a fun experience. I'm looking forward to it and learning a lot. So that's the wonderful thing about the hobby is it's a continuing learning thing. You're always learning, and I love meeting other detectorists and people that do what we do. So I appreciate you, Greg, and I appreciate Deej for having you on, and we all kind of glean a little bit of knowledge from each other always.
Oh, for sure.
So
Hey, it's been fun. It's been a lot of fun.
a lot of fun, and I'm gonna hop off here and let you. The focus is supposed to be on you tonight, so I
Yep.
appreciate your help.
No.
Yeah.
we talked. We went in this with no agenda. I said, if worst case, I could tell a bunch of sad stories.
Oh, no.
I like your bear stories, and I was talking to Deej earlier today, and she was talking all about these.
And I told her, I said, somebody needs to be carrying when you go in there because if you're going to be in one of 3 counties, I can guess. And they are have the highest population of bears in Michigan. So
But it's only black bears. Don't worry about
black
it.
bears aren't as bad as what Greg has experienced.
I've never seen one that wouldn't run away, except like I said, like the one that tried to get me when I was all bent over,
Right?
Yeah.
old panty. But I stood up and ran away.
And I told her, you don't want to be quiet. You want to be loud in the woods.
Yeah, they say
Maybe.
if I have a metal detector and shovel in hand, I raise my hands and then scream
Yep,
as well.
and be as big as you can be.
Wait. So.
And I told her, don't ever run from a bear.
Right.
Well, it depends on the bear.
Right.
Well, it's kind of like a dog. You don't run from certain dogs. Certain dogs you face down.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know. After the fact, you can make that decision.
Right.
But actually, your big thing. It depends how soon you're going to go. But your biggest risk is the bugs. The bugs. 3 weeks.
Yeah.
The bugs are almost gone by then. You'll be okay.
Yep.
Yeah, but still, take some bug spray.
Definitely.
Something with Deej in
Double
it.
your socks.
Yeah.
Roll your outer layer of socks up over your bottoms of your pants.
Oh, that's if it's ticks. Yeah, you guys got
that's
ticks,
for ticks
right?
and black flies. Black flies will bite.
Right.
I've got scars on my ankles from black flies.
But here in Texas, you've got to deal with chiggers, ticks, snakes, of course, wolves, and you name it. Not bears. There are a few black bears, but that's pretty rare here. But yeah, I have to deal with all kinds of stuff. But the mosquitoes here, and not necessarily black flies. We've got mosquitoes the size of.
Oh my!
I'm excited. Yeah, pretty. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It'll be definitely a learning experience. So thanks for having me on, Deej, and thank you, Greg, for your knowledge and sharing with us all. And I'm going to hop off here, and we'll definitely keep in touch.
Okay.
It's been a pleasure.
Thanks, Gypsy.
A pleasure. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye. So that was good that you were able to help her because I've only found one piece of copper and it was just by accident,
Right.
I've never prospected for copper.
But you know something? I can talk about this sort of stuff all day long. This is fun.
We all can do that,
I guess so, eh?
That's the passion.
Yeah.
The passion coming out.
Yeah. Because it's either a joke or something serious, like how to get deeper or whatever, and then everything else kind of piles in as stories, and you wouldn't believe what I saw or what I found, or yeah.
So, what advice do you have for beginning rock hounds?
You're talking rock hound in particular, right?
Rock hounding, yes.
Okay. Other than stay look out for trees. Anyway, it's kind of insight. You don't know what happened to me, but no. With new rock hounds, is go to places that do not cost you money, that people have already found stuff. Find out what it is they were finding, what it looks like, and go find your own. That's the best advice. The second piece is join a club, because you get access to places that most people, well, even I can't get access to necessarily. Like an active mine will not allow me in because I'm not insured. Through the club, you're insured and you get access. You also get introduced to people who, well, the good people, because they're rock hounds, of course.
Right.
More important is they're willing to help you. They're willing to show you what you found, what they've found, where they found it, what to look for, and it just takes you from the lower edge of the learning curve and takes you much higher, so much faster. To do it on your own is hopeless. You read your average book, and they give you all the Latin names, and they show you the absolute perfect specimens, and very few specimens are perfect. And so you can spend a lot of your time looking for that and
perfect specimen and never find it. Yeah.
Well, yeah, you will find it eventually, but that's because you've gone through everything else that's going on. Yeah.
Okay.
And then just have fun. Actually, the other thing that was told to me when I first started rock hounding, because I'd show up, let's say, is this a good rock? Is this a good rock? And it was, if you like it, it's a good rock. Take it. Go home with it. Have fun. And as well, if you find something better, you can actually take that one you didn't like and either give it to somebody or throw it in your garden. You can always do that.
Right. Now how long ago did you start tumbling rocks?
I think I got my first tumblers about 8 or 10 years ago. The first ones, because I thought when I was a kid, I wanted to rock tumble. My parents was, no, you're not. It's expensive, and you're going to get a bunch of junk out of the tumbler, or you're going to use it once and then put it aside, which was me. So I actually went into Toronto and tried to find a place that sold rock tumblers. I finally found this place, Science something, and they had one of these plastic ones. It was expensive. It was like $130.
Oh, geez.
Anyway, I bought it. I burned that thing out with my third tumble because it just destroyed the inside with the rocks tumbling.
Yeah.
And stupidly used, I bought like 2 or 3 more.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And I tumbled those, and they finally burnt out. And I went, well, there's got to be something better. And that's when I discovered Lorto. And I've tried a few other types of tumblers, but that's the one I like best right now.
Okay.
Yeah, drink more wine, Greg.
What? So you do mainly gold and silver prospecting then?
No.
If
I had my druthers, that's all I would do. Now, probably time-wise, I spend more time looking for silver than gold because silver is a 6-hour drive away. Gold is, I've gone in Ontario and I've dicked around, but it's difficult to get anything worth anything. Any economic quantities, forget it, especially when you're looking at placer. Then BC, I've still got claims in Atlin, which is just south of the Yukon. I gave away some claims other parts of BC, and I could probably get hold of people and go back.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you'd think I could anyway.
Mhm.
I do like gold. I do like finding natural gold. But for rock hounding, I like Ontario, Quebec. I do want to do a trip into Ohio, Upper New York for the crystals and the and the lapidary material. So the one thing I did hear is, and I've seen evidence since, is in Ohio there's something ridge that has chert. It's all colored chert.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, that is one of the best places for really good lapidary material.
Oh
Is,
wow.
is from there, and that's only for me like an 8-hour drive.
Oh wow.
So I do want to go there.
That sounds cool. Hi, Digging with Cruzy.
Ridge or something like that.
Mhm.
Actually, and the other thing too is, over the years, I've heard so many stories, and I can't quite pinpoint where the spot is, but I'm pretty sure I do know where to go looking. And so that's part of the treasure hunting. Remember the story, trying to align different stories you hear over time, and not that is something worth pursuing. And I'm still working. Once I retire, I could park my camper, take my dogs, and go spend a bunch of time just looking.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes
You want to
sense.
hear one good story?
Sure.
Okay. Up north, Lake Temagami, not Temagami, Lake Temiskaming, which is a very deep lake. I think it's 500 feet deep, something like that. It's actually an extension of the Montreal River. And the Ontario-Quebec border goes right down the center of it. There was a crew of surveyors who were contracted to go up the Ontario-Quebec border between Ottawa and all the way north and survey between the two provinces. When they got to the top of Lake Temiskaming, they heard that there was mail back in Mattawa, which is at the south end of this lake. It's a very long lake. So they sent one fellow back. He got caught in a snowstorm. He went into the shoreline and trying to find a place to just weather out the storm, he fell into an opening, which turned out to be a cave. In the cave, he plucked out gold nuggets all across this river. Now, the one thing was that I found really weird was this river ran into the mountain, like into the hillside. And I thought, no, rivers run out of the hillside.
Out of the mountains, normally.
Except when I was in Atlin last time, I went in a old abandoned mine and a placer mine, and the rivers in there actually ran the creek was maybe 200 meters away. They didn't run towards the creek, they ran into the hillside.
Whoa.
It happens, right?
Yeah.
And anyway, so he stayed in there overnight. The next day he found a way out. He walked the lake. He had to go another distance to get to Mattawa. He got snow blindness. He was going crazy. He was picked up by some natives, some Indians, and they took him to Mattawa. When he recovered, apparently he had these gold nuggets in his pocket. That's important, because otherwise it's just a story. Probably some old gold somewhere and took it somewhere else. He had the nuggets. He woke up. He believed it. He actually spent the rest of his life searching for this so-called cave and never found it again.
Oh my gosh.
And you think, but I know somebody that's actually pursued this a little bit. He actually gave me a call and told me he was close. He thought he had the spot because he could knock on the rocks and hear hollow underneath. And I thought, yeah, I'll call BS on this. The water running into the hill, the this, the that. Anyway, I took my dog and we went up there and saw him anyway. Spent the night in a hotel, shot the breeze. Went out to a spot, spent a couple of days. It wasn't the right spot. The geography was wrong. But like I said, it's a long lake.
Yeah.
The other part that got me kind of curious was the natives in the area. This lake actually has a like a Loch Ness kind of monster. One of these eels that all comes up, and fishermen during the winter get freaked out. Or and I thought, well, do the natives have any of these stories? And it turns out they did, because this, I think they call it Ogie Pogo, something like that. Ogie Pogo lives in caves. I went, oh. That explains, one, why the natives don't go into those caves. Two, well, maybe there's caves.
Yeah.
So I, it's kind of the back of my mind that I need to do a little more exploring of this thing. And it was written up in, I actually tried to find the article a couple of weeks ago, and I can't find it. But it was written up in the New York Times back in about 1860, something like that.
Oh, wow. That's wild.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah, it is. So
yeah, that's kind of like one of those treasure stories. You go,
yeah,
well, maybe.
Yep. Now, I've been a rock hunter since I was a little kid. Rock hunter, shell hunter, beach hunter. But I prefer metal detecting dirt. I haven't had good luck at the beaches, but I really haven't done enough beach detecting.
You got to go into the water.
And
have to go in the water.
Yeah.
And actually, if you only have time, just one secret, only have time. Go as deep as you can. For me, it's like here, this deep.
Oh,
because probably for me, any shallower, except 5'11", any more shallow has probably been detected, because even guys with, if there's no waves, with land units and go to 3 feet.
Right.
You have to get at a certain depth. And the only thing is, I've gone deeper with my scuba gear or hooker or one of these kind of things. And I'm not much better. But then again, once I strap on the tanks or take a hooker out, I'm always rushed.
Right.
Yeah. But anyway, but that's where the gold is in the
Right. Now, as a rock hound, we all have our top of our bucket list locations we want to go. And I told you about mine. I want to do some amethyst hunting.
Oh, shit.
And I was told by a gentleman who is long since passed. He owned the rock store that I used to go to. And he told me if I go up to Sault Ste. Marie and cross over into Canada and go west, that along the shore, I will find amethyst crystals.
Yeah,
so that's my go-to. I want to go there sometime.
Cool. Go do that, but have enough time in your trip to head out to Thunder Bay, because that's where the quality amethyst is.
Right.
What you're probably talking is not as good a quality. I can actually find some as far east as just north of North Bay, but it's not fabulous quality.
Right.
If you get into, especially after a recent blast, into some of these amethyst mines for Thunder Bay,
right,
it's outstanding.
Right. So what is the top of your bucket list for a location that you've always wanted to go to rock hunt?
Without a doubt.
Hunt or whatever.
Without a doubt, Australia.
Okay. And what do you want to find there?
And actually, probably to actually link up with Liz Creek. I would love to link up with Liz Creek. Yeah. So for rock and then for gold. Sorry, go ahead.
So you want to find opal, or what all do you want to find in Australia? Because there's a lot to choose from.
There's a ton to choose from. Like it's on my bucket list because it's an amazing place.
Right.
And there's public places to collect and there's private places to collect. It's they seem to have everything,
Mm-hmm.
but as well as a lot of stuff you find is gem quality.
Mm-hmm.
Which, you go to a place like an Ontario Bancroft, they have almost everything that can be found, like any mineral that can be found, any crystal can be found,
Mm-hmm.
is there, but it's not prime quality
Right.
necessarily.
Necessarily.
Some things are, but
Mhm.
it's just Australia fascinates me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, in Australia, there's gold prospecting there too, as well.
Oh, big time. Although I had a buddy who he took a bicycle across Canada. Well, that was kind of cool. He went like east to west,
Mm-hmm.
and so he took his bicycle, and it was like somebody bought it at a garage sale for like $25. He took it to Australia and he bicycled around Australia, and then he went to New Zealand, and he bumped into a place where people were still panning and looking for gold. And again, one of these stories I hear, and I go, "Oh, that's got to be a place I have to go."
Mm-hmm.
But actually, for prospecting, I
Mm-hmm.
would like to go to NZ.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what I'd love to do is to fly right over Hawaii, maybe land in Fiji or something, spend a couple weeks, then Australia for maybe a few months, and then New
Mm-hmm.
Zealand for the same.
Mm-hmm.
That area of the country just intrigues me.
Yeah.
That area of the world
Mm-hmm.
absolutely intrigues me.
For sure. So what's your favorite rock that you found?
I don't know.
I asked him a tough
It's
one.
like
I
asking
know.
your favorite kid.
Huh?
It's like asking who's your favorite child.
We know who your favorite child is.
Really? Yeah, I only got one kid, so
Yeah,
that's
you
easy.
only got one kid.
Yeah, so it's Amy. But my favorite rock, huh?
Maybe the one that you used did the chemicals on it to get
No,
the
no. Anything I
silver.
dip in acid, anything dip in acid is something I just expect to disappear anyway.
Mm.
Um, yeah, really fine question. You know what it's going to be? It's the next rock I'm going to find.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Do you think it's possible to find an agate in somewhere other than a lake or a beach?
Sure, of course.
Okay.
Because
My son had bought property, lake property that's used to be a gravel pit.
okay, that's not a good sign.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
gravel pits are usually where, well, in our area anyway, where glaciers picked up material, took it over, and
Mhm.
deposited it.
Mhm.
Maybe it may be through water running through whatever. It's a real mix of rocks.
Yeah,
What
it's
you
all
really
different kinds of rocks.
what
We
you
even
want,
found Petoskey stones there.
well, Petoskey stones are old fossils, right?
Mm-hmm.
So cool, but it's just old fossils,
Yeah.
which was the old lake bed material, and
Mhm.
perhaps were picked up and moved and dropped.
Right.
What you really want is, if you want to find good agate, is where there's basalt,
Mhm.
where there's volcanic material.
Volcanic.
Yep, yep.
Now that would be
My
similar to
best
what.
place I know is in like the Kamloops area in British Columbia. Loaded in there.
Mm-hmm.
But it's all old volcanoes as basalt.
Right. Now I actually found what I think is. Do you know what septarian is?
Sounds like a movie.
It's called the lightning stone.
Oh, okay, lightning stone. Yeah.
Okay. So I actually found on my son's property septarian that is the right basic makeup of that rock, but
Yeah.
there's no calcite in it. There's no calcite veining in it.
Okay.
Okay, Septarian is actually a petrified mud bubble. Okay, some of them you can cut them open and there's crystals inside. Some of them you cut them open, there's nothing inside. Septarian nodules, yes, Dirka. And that.
I can't see that. I have to go back and look at everybody's comments. They'd be like, "Tell the guy to shut up."
No, they're all loving it. Oh yeah, thunder eggs. Have you ever looked for thunder eggs? I haven't yet. I think you have to go out west for that.
Yeah, or Kentucky, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I haven't found any. The only stuff like that I've bought. I haven't. It's not in my area.
Right. Well, you had that one video where you went rock shopping. You went to a rock shop and took us with you. That was cool.
You know what I did that day? So here's the rest of the story.
Okay.
I went there to learn how to cab.
Okay.
And I took Daisy with me. And during lunch, Daisy and I walked around his yard outside. Mm-hmm. We filmed, what was there, and I bought a few rocks.
Right.
And then just before they closed, I went into a store and I walked through and filmed a few of that. Mm-hmm. Not that the guy's cut me any bricks. He still charges me what he charged you or anybody else. But
right.
He liked the idea his shop was filmed. He's a good guy. Like he's a really knowledgeable guy. He's the one that told me about Ohio.
Oh wow.
He said the only place that he's interested in going is Ohio. And I went, oh, well, then Ohio has to be a pretty good place because I like lots of places around us.
Oh yeah. Oh well. When I got a hold of you after I went to Flash Bash, Ed's Flash Bash gathering, because I found that death plate and we were trying to figure out the best way to clean that.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful.
Is it?
That thing. It is gorgeous. It's the best one I've ever found in my life. Huh?
Did you confirm what it was?
Some of the stuff I did some research on it, wrote it down. I'm going to do a video on it later on, but yeah, it's a death plate from the sea bottom millions of years ago. And what I thought was bones is not actually bones, it's plant life.
Right, okay.
So, but it was a beautiful fossil. It's the best death plate I've ever found. When I have gone looking for death plates, like was when I was in college years ago up in the Alpena area, but it's a totally different kind of rock even. It's more gray, black, blah. This had beautiful color to it. And that's what I loved about it. So, let's see. What was your most favorite trip?
Wait a sec. This is supposed to be Viking armor.
Is it?
Yeah. It doesn't look like it. Nobody sees it. Anyway, go ahead.
What's your most favorite trip that you took?
Oh my goodness. Channel? My absolute favorite, Amy was 9 years old. So my daughter, Amy. Mm-hmm. I got to back this up a bit. Mm-hmm. I originally, my first wife got cancer and passed away. Mm-hmm. And during that time, I let all my claims slide. I was not interested in prospecting or any of that stuff. It was looking after her and then moving on. Amy, 9 years old, I said, hey, you want to go on a trip? She was, hell yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We fly to Kamloops because I had a sister at the time in Clearwater. She had a ranch in Clearwater, and which is, I don't know, 200 kilometers apart, something like that. Anyway, I fly to Kamloops with my daughter. We don't arrive until like 11 o'clock at night. The airport's shutting down. It's a wee airport. Wee little place. Anyway, we go out to get the truck because I ordered a truck, and we walk by this absolutely pristine candy. You see the wine's kicking in. I'm done. Candy red Mustang.
Oh, candy apple red Mustang.
Candy apple. There we go.
There you go.
So we're looking for, and she goes, "Oh, Dad, that's my favorite car." And so I thought, yeah, it's not going to happen. They'd be closed. I said, "You go back in and you cut them a deal and you get me that car." Because we're going to be there for 2 weeks. Like,
right.
I'm not going to get, I want an SUV or a truck or something wheel drive or 4-wheel drive.
Right.
Anyway, she goes back up and says, "For $300 more, you can have that car." So Amy and I, now it's like 12:30 at night. We load all our stuff into this thing. There's no trunk because with our luggage in the back seat, and she is there beside me, but she wanted the top down. And our first stop was a ski resort. So we had to drive like, no, I'm sorry. We went and met some guys that I knew that were prospectors. So we met in a restaurant. We shot the breeze like an hour and a half till Amy couldn't keep her eyes open. Because if it's like 1:30 in the morning there, it's like 4:30 here. Amy is whooped. We get back in the car. We drive to this resort. And this place is surrounded by gold creeks. Historic gold creeks. And so that's where we spent about 5 days. And then we drove to my sister's. And from there, we're going to do some fishing and some prospecting and some this and that. But I got the stupid Mustang. I can't. And the thing probably only had like 700 kilometers on it when I picked it up. Oh yeah. It was crazy. But yeah, on the highway, the V8, this was a Mustang you rent had a V8 in it. Oh, it would fly.
Jump on that and you'd fly.
You know, what would take you normally 20 minutes is 10 minutes. Anyway, we went to my sister's, and turns out my sister needed help because she wanted to sell her ranch. So I ended up whitewashing the fences and crap like that. But I'd take Amy out once a day, or my sister would. We'd do something. So if I was prospecting, I'd go to these waterfalls that were kind of cool, and I would dive them. The whole time Amy's fishing and just catching trout. And because the water is kind of spraying up, they end up in the dips in the rocks. She's filling these dips with little trout. And they would pick like 3, which are going to eat that night, and the rest go back into the water.
Right.
That was an amazing trip to me because I had this innocent little girl. But I have to tell you, the worst thing about it is it had a satellite radio in the car. And Amy programmed it between like, I guess, 4 stations. And so all you can do is press a button and get the next station. And they're all like top 40, like teenage girl kind of songs.
Oh, wow.
Every one of those songs now is what I call a BC song. And Amy's moved on. She goes, "Well, those are old songs." But that was probably my most favorite trip. That was so nice. Other than my first time to Atlin was pretty cool because I picked up over a dozen claims, and so I kind of bounced between them. But the absolute best claim I got to had there was someone had a camper there, an excavator, like a digger, and he went, "Well, he's in my claim. What's he doing this digger here?" And then I walked just office just on the edge, and there was an adit that went into the bank, and went, "Well, this is actually an ideal place because if the old timers spent the time to dig into the side of this hill, there had to be a reason," which is why which is why he had his digger there.
Mhm.
Anyway, I went, I remember the GPS, and I was looking and thought, I might be wrong. I know where the rivers are. I know what. I even pasted it out. I went, I'm in the right spot. But anyway, I left there, went somewhere else. I talked to one prospector because we drove by each other on a mining road, like 40 kilometers back in the forest. And I said, here's the weird thing. One place I can't get into because there's a mine in the way. And this other place, there's a Kubota excavator in the way.
Mm-hmm.
And he went, okay, cool. Anyway, we drove on. Anyway, these guys with the Kubota excavator hunted me down. And we tried to figure out what's what. Yeah, they were on my claim.
They were on your claim?
Oh yeah. They just didn't know any better. They were using the wrong kind, like a US coordinates or something like that. It just, they're out by about 200 yards, and that's all it took.
Right.
Anyway, but I said, hey, if you want to dig that thing out, go to town. Just don't get me in trouble, because I don't have any what's out west called a now permit, a notice of work. I haven't filed any that I can do any machine operations on these places. And so don't get me in trouble, and we're all cool. And it turned out he found very little, but he went the next creek over, and he found the thing was loaded.
Whoa.
Loaded with nuggets, but loaded with fine gold. Yeah, it caused a little local gold rush.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So, one thing I have tried to impress on my subscribers,
right,
is the importance, because I hunt alone a lot, and before I go anywhere, my sons want to know where I'm going. Give me an address. What time are you going to be there? What time are you leaving to come back? What are you going to be doing there? The whole 9 yards, because I'm always alone. And you had a similar situation that went awry for you. You want to tell our viewers about that, and the importance of keeping a cell phone on your body?
If you're in a cell phone location that works. So a lot of places I go, cell phones won't work, but they're getting better and better. So I'll explain what happened in April this year really quick. I had to get a COVID shot. I had time, so I took my dogs to a place I own. It's very remote. You have to go maybe a kilometer and a half, 4-wheel drive to get into it. So I go there to kill some time. And I had some apple trees, so I was planting apple trees. I decided stupidly to cut down a big pine. This thing is 2 feet across the base, 50 feet high. I've cut down hundreds of trees. I got out my chainsaw, I cut out the wedge, I come in from the other side, thing's not dropping. So I step aside, I'm maybe 20, 30 feet away from the tree. I get distracted because I'm thinking, where's my dog? So I look around to make sure she's safe, and that's the last thing I remember, because the tree came down right across me. It swatted me. I had a crack in the skull, a brain bleed. Apparently the worst thing that they're worried about was veins in my neck that would swell. Anyway, because it should have been a cartoon, right? Take me this big, make me this big, and that's almost happened to me. I broke 2 spines in my back. I broke ribs across the front. And then down below, I had big boots on, they're bigger than that, big hunting boots on. The boots didn't move, my leg twisted, and I tore off tendons, but I broke the 3 bones that are in there, because everything, it's the only thing really holding it together is the skin. I woke up under this tree. I thought I should, and I was winded because, collapsed lung. I don't think I said that. Anyway, so I had trouble breathing. And I thought, well, I'll just lay here for a bit and see if it gets better. But I did notice that my leg was kind of not good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought, well, I'll just lay here and I'll call, I'll get the dog over because it's April. It's getting cold out. The dog had been in the pond. She's soaking wet because I thought I'll snuggle up with her and I'll be okay. I'll keep warm. Well, that was a no-go. So I had no cell phone with me. I had to crawl back to my truck. And luckily, my wife was phoning me so I could see my cell phone kind of lighting up. And so I opened the door, I reached in and grabbed it. At that point, I could not go an inch further. I couldn't get around the side. I couldn't go any further. I was done.
It took you like, what, 3 hours to get to your truck?
Yeah, and it took them, so finally I was told this by one of the neighbors. So what I did is I talked to my daughter how to find me because she needed to get the emergency workers in. But I told her to get the neighbor as a Jeep, as 4-wheel drive to get back in. He said there were 3 ambulances. I'm sorry, 3 fire trucks, 1 ambulance, and a helicopter.
Wow.
And they finally flew me to Toronto in the helicopter into a trauma unit. And I was there 2 or 3 weeks, just, laying in the bed, staring at the ceiling, wondering if it's ever going to get better.
Wow.
Because you just don't know. Because if your back gets hit like that, one movement, and all of a sudden your legs don't work, right?
Right. Wow.
Yeah. So the big problem was I should not have moved. If I had a cell phone, I could have reached in my pocket, phoned somebody and said, I need help.
Right.
Didn't happen.
Right. And always let somebody know where you're going to be.
Well, let them know where you're going to be. And if you can, have the device on you. Yeah. Anyway, but if anybody's watching still.
We still got 24 in the house.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, are in the chat.
I wore a back brace for 3 months, which kept my alignment in place, and that's off. And last week I was told I can take my foot brace off, which is so everything hurts still, but I'm getting better. So the upside is I'm going to be okay, I think. The downside is it could have been way worse.
Way worse, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. So when you get well enough to start going out on adventures again, where do you want to go next?
I'm heading up tomorrow.
Oh, you're kidding me.
No.
Where are you going?
Well, there's a new spot that apparently has really nice quartz crystals.
Oh.
I'm taking both dogs with me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then end of this week, early next week, I'm heading up north. Go for silver.
Heading up where?
For silver.
Okay.
If I can't walk into the places, I'm going to swim it.
You're going to swim it.
Yes.
Well, maybe it's time to get a side-by-side and trailer it to where you got to go.
I've got ATVs, but I'm not taking one. Yeah.
So, well, be safe. For sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got friends up there, so they'll take good care of me. But what I won't be doing probably is taking the young pup. She's only 4 months old, and she's smart and she pays attention, but I don't need her falling into a hole.
Yeah. Oh my God, for sure. That would not be a good place.
Oh, it would break my heart.
For sure. He's talking about Shelby. Is that what you named her?
That's Shelby. Yeah.
Shelby is a black lab puppy.
Correct.
So And that somehow I don't think Daisy's not too happy with having a puppy chewing on her lips and her ears.
Daisy likes her and puts up with her, but Shelby bites her ears.
Yes.
She will do indie dog. She'll spin, zoom, 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 run in, and then chomp
On their ears.
And poor Daisy, she cries out.
Oh, yeah.
What Shelby should pay attention to is, hey, that's a cry. That's no good. But she keeps doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's getting better. She's gotten better over the last 2 weeks, but Daisy is terrified of her.
Mm-hmm.
Just like, actually, if you see my videos, Daisy's nose on the end is all scarred.
Oh, no.
I went up north, and my buddy had a Shih Tzu something, like this little tiny furry dog.
Yeah, fur ball.
This thing came out of the house and attacked Daisy.
Oh my gosh.
Her ears and her nose.
Oh.
And what I could do for her was open up my truck, but actually at one point she flipped upside down, which is the, I give up kind of position.
Mm-hmm.
And the dog still was tearing at her.
Oh, geez.
Anyway, I let her in the back of my truck, and I closed the door to get, in the back of my truck looked like a murder scene. There was blood everywhere from her nose.
Oh my gosh.
Mostly from her nose. And the nose on a dog is extremely sensitive.
Very.
Anyway, it's all scarred if you look at any of my videos. That was from this one little dog that all she had to do was turn around, grab it, give it a couple shakes, and that'd be the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not in her nature.
Yeah.
It's not what she does.
Yeah.
She has, actually, as a dog, when I had Daisy and Tess, if I was eating something or I had treats beside me, if I went behind me with my hand and handed them to them, I knew who was eating because Tess was bam on my hand.
Mm-hmm.
She would finally get it out.
And Daisy was taking
Daisy was just trying to hand it. It was like, she's just just a very, very soft mouth, which is a good hunting dog.
Which is the perfect dog for duck hunting. Perfect.
Exactly. Whereas Tess would, when I used to hunt ducks, I haven't done it for a long time, ducks or geese, she'd bring them back to me. I'd go hang them up, and Tess would actually tear up the breast meat and eat it. Whereas Daisy wouldn't even consider to it. Yeah,
oh
would not be a thing she would do.
Right.
Well, she couldn't. She could hardly, you take a hot dog, she could hardly chew that.
Right.
Yeah.
So I watched a video of yours where you were snorkeling, maybe, in that great big pipe. I've got it in the picture in the thumbnail.
Did I show my butt?
For gold.
Okay. So I'm there with my daughter, Amy. She is now like 14, 15 years old, somewhere in there. And it's part of my claim, this culvert. And I said, I'm going to go there and I'm going to try to. The beautiful thing about a culvert, it's like a riffle that somebody created for you. So all the dirt that moves through, the heavies stay behind the riffles. I said, I'm going to go and clean this thing out. You film it. Well, the water force is so strong that it pulled down my pants. I was actually wearing.
Oh my gosh!
I was wearing jeans, right? And jeans get heavy, get pulled down, my butt crack showing, and she's thinking this is the funniest thing she's ever seen. Ready to say, "Hey, Dad, do something with your pants." Anyway, that was the time I was in the culvert. Okay, what's your question?
It was an interesting video on how because it was almost like a different kind of a sluice,
What is a sluice? Yeah, you can do well. The only problem with a lot of them is I'm going to try to do this video properly. Where the culvert starts, there's usually a gap. I'll do it this way. There we go. There's a gap as the water runs in. Anyway, there's a gap, and most of the gold actually falls out before it even gets into the galvanized culvert.
Wow.
But if you find something like that, they are amazing places to check, because if it's a gold creek and there's gold in it,
Mm-hmm.
then there'll be gold in the culvert.
Okay.
And some of the places there's screw holes or something missing. Suck those things out because they'll be loaded with gold.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what advice do you have for people new to gold panning and prospecting creeks and stuff?
Probably the first thing to do is buy some pay dirt and learn what gold looks like in the pan.
Mm-hmm.
If you haven't seen it before, it's a great education.
Mm-hmm.
After that, go to places where gold has been found before. Don't try to find the new place, because I got to tell you, almost every place has been checked before.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Chrissy has a question. She says, ask him about scary adventures involving Mississauga rattlers.
I don't have many because
they're almost gone.
Well, yeah. So they're up in cottage country just north of me.
Mm-hmm.
But I did know some people that were contracted, or let's say thought they were, to catch them, and they'd throw a little light blanket over it. When it stuck its head up, they would grab it below the neck and then throw it in the bin.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if that's what Chrissy is talking about.
I'm not sure.
Other places, like I do have the father-in-law of my sister,
Mm-hmm.
so it's a couple of points removed, and where his cottage was, they hated them. And when they saw them, they'd shoot them. And then they'd take off the rattlers. And he had a little jar full of rattlers.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Right. They're still part of the ecosystem. They still, when they're gone,
They are.
Changes the ecosystem.
Now, at one point, I was driving up north, and my wife had to have a pee. And she said, pull over. So we pulled over the spot. And she walked down these rocks. I walked partially down and blah, blah, blah. She's coming back up. I know. I was walking back up in front of her. And as she's walking back up, I saw the biggest snake I've ever seen. It was just coiled all around through. I didn't know what kind it was, but I stepped up and I went, stop. She goes,
oh my.
My wife wouldn't pay attention to me if I was yelling or talking quiet or whatever. It was, why are you yelling at me? Snake. Mm-hmm. Anyway, this thing was about this big around.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I think it was called a bull snake. Oh, it was big. But anyway, it wasn't poisonous. It wasn't a rattler, but I wasn't sure. I saw a snake, and I did a couple of hops, skips, and jumps.
Right.
The other places where I have gone prospecting and people have lost their dogs and stuff is in Kamloops, because it's almost like a desert territory. Mm-hmm. And people have dug out little places to get the plastic gold out of. Other people put their hands in and they get big. They get big. Yeah. So that's about all I know about snakes. Normally, where we are, it's not a big deal.
Right.
Yeah.
So did that answer your question, Chrissy? Chrissy says, I like the video with Bo and the leeches.
Oh. Well.
I don't think I've seen that one.
Okay, nobody can tell Bo that I've told about this story, because there's more to the story.
Oh my.
Bo had a bad back. Mm-hmm. And he really should have. He came up to Toronto, I think, did a show here or something, like one of those detecting things. He should have gone home. Anyway, but he really wanted to go up with us and do cobalt and whatever. We go up there, and his back is hurting. And he actually did a few things that I couldn't go in because I had Daisy with me, and the dog wouldn't go in. So there's a fellow up there called Ty. And he took Bo in, and they did some great adventures. Mm-hmm. And they got places that were, full of silver and silver vein. And unbelievable mines from the inside looking out.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, Bo gets back and he's hurting. Oh God, he's hurting. So I said, well, my dog's hurting too, because she fell off. She jumped off of like a 30-foot cliff and she's limping. And then
Mhm.
gave us some medications called tramadol. And so I've been giving Daisy tramadol, twice a day. We didn't have anything else. I didn't have any Tylenol, anything. Is there anything? I wonder if Bo can take this. So he phoned. He phoned his wife, who's a veterinarian, and she said absolutely not, because, well, from my perspective, a lot of the medications I give my dogs are human medications, and so as long as it's okay, it's okay. But no, apparently tramadol isn't one of the ones you do that.
Mhm.
So what we fed Bo was Jack Daniel honey, and it went down real well.
Honey?
Well, that's a beautiful liqueur. So Jack Daniels, honey.
Mm-hmm.
Either drink it straight or drink it with Coca-Cola.
Mm-hmm.
But we really wanted to help Bo.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, after, it wasn't just Bo, it was all of us drinking this liquor or whatever you want to call it, an adult beverage. We discovered, because Bo went down with this massive flashlight, you could put it in the water and see what he could probably see down 30 feet. But anyway, right inshore, there's these big leeches going back and forth. These things are like 6-8 inches long. They're all over.
God.
Yeah. If I had a little more Jack Daniels, just for the video, I would have gone in naked.
Oh my God.
But I didn't. What we ended up doing is tying off on I had a turkey leg that was smoked turkey or something. And so we tied that off on a cord and threw it in the water. And all the leeches went for it. Oh, they were gross. Like,
Oh, I bet.
You want to see nasty creatures? It's a flipping leech. And especially when there's a bunch of them and they're swimming around looking for you, or they're hitting the surface and looking at you. They're like little snakes in the water. Little
vampire snakes.
I think that's what Chrissy was talking about.
Yeah. Leeches are crazy in Northern Ontario, Darcy said.
Oh, yeah.
Some places are full of them.
I once went to a place where I used to moose on. We wanted to put a dock in. And so I put a swimsuit on and went out and I put the legs in and making sure there's rocks around it. I got out. I actually had to take the leeches off with an axe. I actually ran the axe down my legs. Oh, they were just everywhere. Yeah.
Oh my God.
I hate them.
Yeah. Ugh. I wouldn't like them either. Yeah.
No, leeches. But I did promise Bo. One thing was, I said on one of his videos, he was talking about the cicadas, the bugs. And he was talking about you eat them, they taste like almond or whatever. You eat one of those, next time you're up, I'm going to eat a leech.
Oh.
I don't know if he ate a cicada, but I may be eating a leech soon.
Uh-oh. Make sure you cook it first, then it's dead.
Yeah, we didn't say if I cook it or not cook it. They're gross any which way. They're like little leathery little damn things.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate them. Yeah.
Gross. Let's see. Have you ever had a rock hunt go wrong?
Yeah. I guess what's your idea of going wrong? A lot of my rock hunts, I find rocks, but I've had where I have fallen off a cliff.
Oh my.
Or yeah. And then actually the worst one was I was taking out it's not tremolite, it was tremolite. And it's almost like glassy material. And it's really sharp. and I fell. And I took off skin off my arms, off my side, off my butt, off my leg. It was I made a video.
That's not
I got a
good.
video out of it, so what's the big deal? Yeah. I've had other ones where I've lost gear, or but probably the one that comes to mind is I was actually up in Cobalt, and I was digging this hole that I ended up going about 15 feet by 3 feet, and I took out a number of good sized rocks, maybe all 10, 15 pounds, and I stacked them all around the outside. And then I hit one that was, it was a beauty. It was like 50, 60 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
I was so happy it fit in the back of my truck. I drove it to show somebody, and I went, well, it's time to go home. So I drove back to Toronto 6 hours, 7 hours. And I went, what happened to those other rocks? And that was like on a Tuesday. And so I had to go back to work the Wednesday. So I worked through to the Friday. And as soon as I done work, I drove up north. I went looking for those rocks. They're all gone.
They were already gone. People swooped
Somebody's
in and got them.
Yep.
Yeah. So, well, I want to thank you so much for coming and spending time with us on my live stream.
It's been a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
So I think
eventually, once they open the borders, sometime either this year or next year, I'm going to be going and staying with Chrissy and Johnny for a week, and she's only like 45 minutes north of you, I think.
Exactly.
So maybe we can do some silver hunting or rock hunting or something.
Well, silver from there is another 5 hours north.
Oh, wow.
But around me, hey, I've got a property I've never metal detected. It's 5.5 acres. Mm-hmm. There's a cabin built in 1903. Okay. There's where an old railway ran through. Tracks are gone, of course, but it's still there. Never detected it.
Oh, wow.
Well, except that Amy and I, my daughter Amy and I, have done a lot of shooting there. There'll be a lot of.
There's going to be a lot of shotgun shells.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Or maybe we'll drain the pond and detect in there. There's a 1 acre pond in there, and just drain the thing and the suits in the bottom.
Yeah.
It's been there forever.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but I just want to thank you for being my guest on my live stream. It was a pleasure having you. Oh, and we can't forget something here.
Oh, wait a second. Okay. Are people still on board?
Hang in there, folks. We're not done yet.
Are people still
trying to get by Christmas or by New Year's, he is trying to get to 100,000 subscribers.
Okay, let me explain this.
I think you're pretty close to 69,000, 68,000, something like that.
Yeah, anyway, I'm up there. But here's what I said I'd do is anytime I hit 100 with, I don't know if you can see those. There's cubes in there. Let me open it up. There's silver cubes that I purchased. They're all like 10 grams each. Whoa. There they are. I'm going to give away like 9 of them as soon as I hit 100,000. But the more important thing is I will give away that whole cube. I forget how many are in there. Plus a whole roll. I don't know how many are in here. Like 30. Anyway, there's a whack of silver coins from First Majestic. They're all this stuff is 99.9% purity. It is gorgeous. I'll give it away because I'll be so happy. But more important for this is if you can draw people, I have 2 things to show you. Whoops. Okay. Okay. There's a bag of nuggets. And those nuggets are, what did I figure? I can't see. I think it's about 1/3 of an ounce. Anyway, of silver nuggets. And then I'll got this nugget here, which is like 0.7 of an ounce. So it's like 3/4 of an ounce. If you wanted 2 draws for the people that are online right now,
Okay.
give me the information. I will mail this stuff out. And I'm going to step away for a second. I'll be right back.
Okay. So what we're going to do, Mark Thomas, you still in the chat?
I'll go downstairs.
Let me try to get a hold of Mark Thomas. Oh, he's there. He's present. Okay, Mark. Let's see. I'm trying to think of a quick question. I guess we'll just pick a state. Waiting for Greg. Okay. So this is the state that I'm going to pick. And I just sent it to you, Mark Thomas. So that'll be the answer to the question. And that. Yep. We're going to have it. We're going to have a giveaway. Greg's going to do a giveaway. I'll wait for him to get back here. So does anybody else have any questions for Greg?
Yeah.
Because we've got to be done by 8 o'clock because Ed from Flashing Your Panel started at 8. But okay.
Come here. Come here.
Oh, you got the babies.
Oh,
Here she is. There's Shelby.
there's Shelby. and she is a rockhound.
Yeah.
She actually will show up with rocks I didn't know I owned. Today was appetite, was another piece of quartz. It was unbelievable. What a dog. Hey? Yeah.
Right.
Come on. Oh, there we go. There we go.
Okay. So we're gonna do a drawing for Greg's gift.
Good luck, everybody.
Okay. And get your typing fingers ready, folks. Does it matter if they're in the US?
No, I don't care.
Okay. Okay, so you'll ship it wherever is necessary.
Yep.
Okay. So wait until I tell you go.
Hey, dog.
Okay, you're going to choose a state in the United States. Okay, we've got 20 in the chat, so you choose until Mark Thomas tells you to stop. And then we wait and give him time, and he will tell us who the winner is. I've already texted him the answer, which state I chose. So get ready, everybody. You got your typing fingers ready? Choose a state in the United States. Get ready, get set, go.
Was Canada a state?
No.
Japan. No.
Oh, now they're starting to come in. Oh my. I think we might have a winner already. Please spell it out so it's easier to watch. But I'll accept either way. I'm scrolling back. Mark Thomas says stop, everybody. So these are silver nuggets.
Okay, so I've got the bag of silver nuggets.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually threw in some, what might be cobalt, but some nuggets that I have not tried to shine up.
Uh-huh.
And it just throws in an extra. But it's about a third of an ounce. There's a bunch of wee ones. And then I've got this one.
Okay.
A different nugget. So it's probably 2 draws, right?
We can do 2 draws.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So each person will get a silver nugget and then some other things added into it.
No. I figured one would be that.
Okay.
And then one would be that.
Okay. Okay. So you choose which one was the first one.
Okay. That was the first thing I showed. So let's do that.
Yep. Okay. So Mark is looking to see Penny Day. Penny Day was the first one to say Georgia. Congratulations, Penny Day.
All right.
Contact. Do you want them to contact me or you?
Yeah, probably you. It's your channel.
Right.
And then and then you can flip it to me.
Contact me, Penny Day, at this email address. Okay. And I will share the address that you email me with Greg, and he will mail you the prize.
Exactly.
Okay. So congratulations, Penny Day. Now, Penny Day, you can only win once a night. Okay. So we're going to do this again, and I'm going to send. Let's see. I'm going to send another state to Mark Thomas. Okay, Mark, I just sent you another state. Greg, you want to explain what it is the second giveaway is?
0.7 of a troy ounce silver nugget. Now,
Silver nugget.
This is almost solid metal.
Uh-huh.
There may be other metals in there to make a mix because
Okay.
it's natural.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so everybody get your typing fingers ready. Okay, get ready, get set, go. Choose a state in the United States again.
California doesn't count because it's going to succeed, right?
We'll see.
Same with Oregon.
I don't see it yet. Keep guessing.
That's a good way to do it. I like that.
You like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I think I just saw it.
Ooh.
I think I just saw it, Mark Thomas.
Well, the nice thing is if there's only 20 people online, that's a 5% chance.
Yeah, that's good odds.
Whoa.
Well, that's the only, but that's the only ones in the chat. So they have to come out of lurking
Okay.
to be able to win. So
True that.
Mark Thomas, did you see it? Okay, Mark. Oh, Mark says stop, everybody. Stop, stop, stop. I'm scrolling to see if he's found it yet. Scroll back and double check because I thought it got guessed pretty quickly, but I'm not sure. Oh my, self-retired got it. She went metal detecting with me last year. Congratulations, girl. So you're going to have to email me at this email address, or you can text it to me because we talk on the phone too. Make sure this looks right. This is my email address, self-retired. If you can send me your mailing address, then I can share it with meMiner and he will mail you your silver nugget, girl. So congratulations.
Yeah, just remind me when it comes in that one person gets the bag of little nuggets.
Yep.
And the other gets the one nugget.
The one nugget. Yep. Okay.
Yep.
I can
Just
do
so I
that.
don't screw it up.
Do that.
I always hate screwing things up.
Yep.
Which
So thank you so much, Greg. I had a blast. We had a blast learning more about you. If you're not subscribed to meMiner, please take the time, check out his channel. I mean, this guy's the real deal. He's not out to, it's not about the subscribers for him, although, yeah, he would like more subscribers. It's about sharing the
subscriber count. Let me just tell you, my wife had said if I hit the 100,000, she's okay if I retire, which means I can do this full time.
Oh, that would be great.
Wouldn't that be super?
That would be great.
Yeah.
That's what I'm loving. My retirement is all treasure hunting. That's what I'm doing. That and gardening.
Yeah.
So, but my gardening's not doing so good right now because I have a mama deer that is jumping my fence. And I live in a small town and I wouldn't shoot a mother deer, not when her fawn, her late fawn, is just on the other side of my fence.
No,
so I've been peeling up all the bad leaves and stuff off my vegetables that I'm not going to eat and throwing it on the other side of the fence.
Does it work?
So far, she stayed out of the yard. So,
okay.
But she ate almost everything.
Yeah, they will.
I mean,
because the veggies are so good.
My 6 8-foot tall sunflowers are now 3 feet tall. She ate my green tomatoes. She ate 6 inches off the top of my green beans. It's like, oh no.
Really?
Yeah. So what do you do?
I had like 8-foot apple trees and they ate them down 2 feet off the ground. They ate everything, just all the way down. It's like, oh, you turds.
Yep.
If they let them go 2 more years, they would have had apples to eat.
Yeah. Wow. So thank you everybody for coming to see us and learning more about meMiner. Next in line is Ed Flashbash, Flash in Your Pan, or not Flashbash, Ed Flash in Your Pan. His live stream starts at 8 o'clock tonight, which is just a few minutes away. Thank you, FK Burnham. And I would, love to have you on again sometime. And I would love to go rock hunting with you. So maybe once they open the borders and I get to go visit Chrissy and Johnny, we can get together and do something. So thank you very much, Greg.
All right.
And everyone, thank you very much for being here to support us. And please check out meMiner on YouTube. I think you will be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
If you like what you see.
Or tell me what I'm doing wrong. That's the other thing. Or tell me if you watch a couple of videos and go, well, this really sucks. Tell me what sucks. Just don't hit it down like. Tell me what I can do better. Because yeah. Anyway, it's all good.
Okay.
Anyway, thank you for an excellent opportunity to just chat and do it online and share with people. So I really enjoyed this.
Me too.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Thank you.
Keep well.
I'm going to put you in the back. I'm going to put you back in the back room and hang on there, and then I'll get back to you. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So thank you very much. If everybody could go and check out Ed's show, Flash in Your Pan, do a Deej raid, I would really appreciate it. And that, is that the link, Chrissy, to Flash in Your Pan? In that. And please, if you could hit the like button, it would really help my channel, maybe rank a little higher in the search ratings and that. So my next video will be this Friday, and it is my second episode of my trail camera captures. So I hope you can join me Friday at 6 o'clock for that. But until then, get out there and find your treasure. Spend some time in the great outdoors. Don't stay cooped up in your house. Get out and enjoy the outdoors. And I'll see you soon. Thank you, everybody, for your support. We both appreciate it. See you at Flash in your pan.